Okay, hello and welcome to the very first free live session in the Aligned Life Collective. Now, you're going to be watching this as a recording, so I'll do my best to keep it brief for you. But what you'll find is that when you're actually in these meetings, there's going to be a little more interaction, a little more discussion, a little more kind of community element, which is exactly what the Aligned Life Collective is all about to begin with. That being said, in today's brief live, I'm going to be talking about commitment or decision. Now, reason for this is most people in today's day and age are constantly looking for more information. And the truth is, you don't need more information. You need to take more action. And you need to take more actions that align with where you want to go. Now, for context, leading up to before I started running these retreats and this community, I did a lot of high ticket sales, right? Which is selling these 10, 20, 100, 300 grand programs and packages. And what I found with it at a certain level, a large majority of people suck at making decisions. In an age where information is so readily available, you almost don't know what information to act on. And there comes a point where you have to stop looking at it from a tactical perspective and start making a more committed emotional decision. That's not to say just do what you think feels best. It's more so trust your intuition to lead you where you want to go rather than staying stuck where you are. And it's a conversation I've had tens of thousands of times over to try and guide people to the point where instead of getting stuck in this analysis paralysis, they're able to say, hey, I don't know what the best solution is, but I know that if I stay where I am, nothing's going to change. And so therefore I need to make a decision, take a committed action. And that's what today is all about. Now, I'm playing around with the structure of a few things, and I have this idea of reset, realign, rebuild. So I'm going to do my best to stick to that rough structure. I've got a couple of notes in front of me here off screen. And really why that is because that is exactly what we do on our retreats and in our community as well. We're resetting. So it's resetting your nervous system, your expectations, your kind of just dialing back all the stuff that's going on the outside, allowing yourself to just sit with yourself and with your thoughts and with your desires and with who you are, right? Just hitting the reset button and then realigning with where you actually want to go, and then rebuilding with that intention, right? So not just mentally making a shift, but actually tactically, technically, practically doing something about it as well. So in the context of decision, let's start with reset. Decision from the perspective of the reset is a lot of people have been conditioned through their lives, but also evolutionarily, if that's a word, to avoid pain, right? Not that makes sense, right? Avoiding pain, avoiding danger. Pain is an indicator that you could die, and our bodies want to keep us alive, right? It's survive and reproduce. Okay, that's the only two things that matter really on an unconscious level. And so when we perceive something as a threat, now a threat might not necessarily be a lion or a pack of wolves coming to attack us. A threat could be a change in our environment, a change of decision, a change of direction. But our nervous system perceives it in exactly the same way, which is why when we're faced with some confrontation or some decision or something big and scary, we have this very visceral fight, flight response. It's actually fight, flight, freeze, and appease are the four that you get. And typically people just go into this kind of state of shock, right? Go into one of these four states or a combination of a couple of them. And so when it comes to resetting the way you make decisions, you've got to build your awareness around the idea and the belief, really, the knowledge, the understanding that a decision to change is not going to kill you. And you can know that intellectually. You can know that, like, it makes sense. God, if I invest $50,000 into this investment fund, whatever, and it goes to pot, I'm not going to die. And you can know that intellectually, but actually training your nervous system to have a response where it's like you can just relax. You can just literally drop your shoulders, right? Let out a big breath, kind of relax your jaw. When you can automatically do that, then you can actually make decisions that lead you where you want to go. Okay. For example, let's use another example of like quitting a job. Now, naturally, if you've been working a job for 10, 20 years and it's all you know and it supported you and your family, your nervous system is trained up on, I do this thing, I get this response, and this response keeps me safe. So if I risk changing this input, then the output could be dangerous and I could be at risk of death, or unprotected or whatever. And so when it comes to resetting your nervous system so you can make decisions based on where you want to go to get the outcomes that you want rather than the outcomes that you've already had, you've got to ask yourself, what are you avoiding? When it comes down to making a big decision, like what part of that scares you? Really, like if you're being really honest with yourself. Because for me, I had that, right? I had a nice career. I traveled a lot. And I thought, if I give that up, I'll no longer be accepted. It was an interesting one. Or I'll no longer have the resources to do what I want to do, and I'll just be stuck in this limbo state forever. And it simply wasn't true. But my nervous system didn't know, couldn't tell the difference. It's been trained up on do this thing, get that response. So that's the reset part of it. Is notice what you're avoiding, because that's probably the very thing that you need to confront. I don't want to say it like that. The very thing you need to confront in order to change the direction of your future, whether it's change of relationship, change of career, you're starting a business, there's some phone call you've been avoiding, some personal thing, like setting some boundary, whatever it may be, you've got to just build that awareness so that you can intentionally reset. Okay. That's the first thing. Second thing is realign. Now, I kind of touched on this already, but it's aligning your decisions with where you want to be. Okay. So reset is noticing what you're avoiding, taking like a stock, taking an inventory of why you're avoiding it. Realigning is then making decisions based on where you want to be. Now, you probably heard the phrase, or the concept of be, do, have. I've talked about this a little bit before on my YouTube, but I'll touch on it here because really learning, real education, and not just mental, but like mind body connection as well, this nervous system retraining. It's only really possible to do that from experience. You can't really retrain your body and your mind through the intellect alone. It just doesn't work. At some point, you actually have to make a decision, a committed decision to do something different. And then you then get the experience, you then get the feedback from whatever changed in the outside world because of this decision that you made. And that is then going to give you the confidence to keep going. Okay. Because a lot of people think that they need to be confident first to make a decision. Like, I need to be confident in this decision that it will work. Well, ultimately, it only works if you do, right? So in order to get the experience and the confidence and the capability to make it work, you have to make the decision to go after it in the first place. Because you can be stuck in a job you don't like for your whole life because you've talked yourself out of making a decision because you weren't confident, or it wasn't right, or you didn't have the information. It's training yourself up to be like, cool, you know what? In spite of that, I'm going to make that decision anyway because of where I want to go. And after you've made that first big decision, that's the hardest one to make, like take that leap of faith, then it's just stacking those decisions on top of each other. It's not going back. It's not like regressing back to how you were, because you already know what that life's going to look like, right? If you want to change the trajectory of your future and really step into a new version of you who lives a new version of your life, and this big new chapter in the book, then you have to first decide to do that, get the experience, right, which retrains your nervous system, which gives you the confidence, not just intellectually, but also physically, to be able to do new things that put you in a new position. Then the third thing is rebuilding. So it's really doing that over time, right? If there's some big, huge life change, you're looking at it, it's this big, scary, ugly thing. It's this big monster, it's this big dragon. And you don't have to slay this whole thing all in one go, right? It's really, there's probably going to be 50, 100,000 steps that you need to take over the course of X period of time in order to really make a change. Okay, whether it's, again, I keep coming back to this job example because it's a reflection of me, but, quitting a job and starting a business. And there's the law of gender, or the law of gestation, which is a universal law which applies to everything, means that there is a time period for everything to materialize. Same way it takes 9 months for a human to be born, sometimes slightly more, sometimes slightly less. Now, with ideas and with things, it can take a lot longer, it can take a lot shorter, right? Say you're manifesting $1 million, £1 million. You may do it within a week. You may just win the lottery or get some inheritance or something, or it may take you years to build that business that you've always dreamed of. So there's no way of knowing necessarily how long that rebuild phase is going to take, but you do know, you should have faith if you keep making decisions that put you in the best position that you're aware of to get the outcome that you want, then it is inevitable that you will get the result that you want. Okay, so in terms of for today, for right now, don't go thinking about, oh God, what is every step I need to take? Get clear on where you want to go. And then to rebuild, just take that first step. First simple step. It doesn't have to, just get your quick win. Just get you feeling good about taking action, because that is going to realign you, right? It's going to retrain your nervous system. And then over time, you just stack more of those tiny little wins. Because without getting too woo-woo, the universe is karmic, right? And whatever you give in an emotional state, as you're physically giving energy to something, it has to return back to you by law. It's just how the world works. And if you're able to adopt that belief system, when you make decisions, you'll know that the outcome is already done. The outcome that you want is already done. And the biggest difference between people who are able to get the results that they want compared to those who are going to stay stuck kind of in this limbo state of like half committing, half not, is the decision. And it's how they make the decision. If you make the decision knowing that you will inevitably, eventually get the outcome that you want, then you will. Compared to if you make a half-assed decision, you have to like recommit later down the line, you're only going to stay stuck where you've been. So reset, realign, rebuild, and know that the decisions that you make will get you the resources that you need for their unfoldment. Like I think Bob Proctor talks about a lot the acorn becoming the oak tree. Like the acorn will inevitably become the oak tree. It's already decided to do that, right, from the moment it's in the ground, even before it's in the ground. And once that decision has been made, it will naturally get the resources that it needs, the sunlight, the nutrients, okay, the heat, right, all of these physical things that it needs for its unfoldment, for it to grow into this big, huge, wonderful tree. And so you do not have to have everything all at once. That, again, there's a law of gestation, right? It takes a certain amount of time for that to unfold. But people constantly make the mistake of thinking they need more information or need the perfect information. And you can call it analysis paralysis, but I think it's defensive. It's defending themselves against this change. Because really the issue for most people, certainly from what I've seen in thousands of calls that I've had with thousands of people I've spoken with, it is not that they lack information, it's they lack the ability to make a decision. And the truth is, no amount of information is going to give you the confidence that taking an action will. And no amount of information is going to give you the certainty that you'd have had you made the decision. Because think about it this way, if you were to make a decision today to make some big change, even if it's just the first step, you would be in a better position tomorrow. You're going to have more confidence tomorrow than you would if you just found more information. Because this age that we live in is the information age, which means there is no shortage of information anywhere, right? Especially just with the internet as an example, right? You have literally all of the information, more or less, at your fingertips. I'm a popular boy today. No more than a couple of seconds out of reach. And these phones probably won't exist in 20 years. It'll just be straight in your eyes or in your head or whatever. And so information isn't the issue. The issue is your inability to commit to what it is you actually want. Because if you're stuck in this state of limbo and this indecision, thinking, hoping something will change, it won't. At least not in the way that you want it to. The only way to accurately predict your future is to look at your present. Look at the decisions that you make, look at the actions that you take, and they will stack up. So all of this to say, make a decision today before you go to bed tonight to put you in the best possible position to achieve the things that you want to achieve, to live the life that you want to live, to be the person you want to be. So that when you wake up tomorrow, you may not be there, but you're practically, actually, physically one step closer to that life you want to live. And if you're interested in joining the Aligned Life Collective, we talk about these type of things. There's far more discussion and far less preaching. Feel free to join. I'm going to put a link down below where you can click Get Started, somewhere on the left-hand side of the screen. It's going to be a lot of fun. We do in-person meetups as well as this online thing. I'm going to bring in more and more expert speakers over time, so you have different perspectives. I'm already working with Samantha Bell, who is just beyond phenomenal, which is an honor and a privilege, and so giving her to you as well. We also run retreats, as you know, the True North retreat up here, which is much the same thing, right? Well, based on the concept, everything we do is based on this concept of reset, realign, rebuild. For people going through these big life changes, right? Whether it's, again, career, relationship, location, something unexpected has happened and you're kind of navigating it on your own, but you don't have to. Point is to put you in an environment, to put you in a space, to give you a community where other people are going through the same things. And although it may not be the identical or the outside, the identical same thing, like quitting this tech job to start a painting business, right? The mindset shifts are exactly the same. And it's all the same stuff, right? It's the alignment with your values, it's the confidence to pursue it, it's the connections, it's the setting new boundaries, right? All of these things end up coming under the same kind of umbrella. And so that's exactly everything that we do. It's very, very tailored to who you are and what you want, and where you're looking to go. Like it's your life, right? Which is the biggest thing that there is. We take that very seriously. So if you're interested, welcome to join, or you're welcome to send me a message, or get in contact and give you more information. Can double check you're in the right place to get you going. But thank you for tuning in for today's 18 minute video here, and I'll see you next week.